Good evening. Welcome to Simple Steps to Prosperity. I'm very honored tonight to have a special guest, a friend and a colleague, Paolo Fabrizio. Paolo is a blogger, speaker. He's a social customer service expert, and we will be speaking a lot about this topic tonight. He is the founder of socialmediascrum.com, and he is a contributor to Curati. Paolo is a person who knows very well the value of clear and engaging conversation and the importance to build a very strong and trust-based relationship with your customers. And this is particularly important in this multicultural universe we live in today. So Paolo, good evening. Thank you for being with me, for having accepted my invitation to this hangout.
Good evening, Paula. Good evening to you and also to our audience. I'm so honored to be here tonight.
Paolo, tell us a little bit about what you do, about your blog, about your guest hosting with Curati. Tell us, a little bit about yourself.
Yes. All right. Yeah, of course, I've got my Italian blog, which you already presented, which is socialmediascrum.com, in which I use to convey all the content relating social customer service mainly, and also content marketing and customer experience topics. And at the same time, I like blogging also in English. So I started a year ago to use my LinkedIn profile as a blog. And so far, I've written nearly 40 articles on my LinkedIn profiles. And after reading and getting, of course, feedbacks, I got through Jen Gordon, she's the owner of Curati, which is a very good, interesting American blog. So I've recently started to cooperate with Curati as a contributor. And I'm so lucky to also be able to share my view of business, especially on social customer service, also on this American blog. In fact, next Wednesday, my third post will appear on Curati.com.
Great, very interesting. And this is also a sign, Paolo, that, the creativity of Italians is appreciated abroad. I mean, right. We both work on the international market. Yes, it is. And there are so many people, who are afraid to put themselves out there, but we are appreciated.
Yes, indeed. Yes. I feel that also, talking about the English audience, so I'm talking about UK and United States, are very interesting markets because as we have the chance to write also in English, we have different feedbacks regarding the same matter. So it's very interesting to compare feedback from my Italian audience regarding the same topic, for example, online conversations, and different point of view regarding the same topic by English-speaking audience. That's very different, and that's very interesting for us as writers and bloggers.
Oh yeah, and it's very interesting because you also have to differentiate what you offer to markets based on this feedback that you get.
Yeah.
Talking of which, I mean the different audiences, and this is made easy today thanks to the internet that has revolutionized the way that we communicate at all levels. And this is true for companies, and in fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but internal communications has changed, and also the way companies of all sizes communicate with their customers, this has changed too. How do you see this communication revolution, both in terms of the good things about it and the difficulties, the challenges that this revolution has brought about?
Yeah, you mentioned the very right word, revolution. There's a revolution going on regarding online conversations. online conversations between brands and customers. I come from a customer service environment. In fact, in the 90s, I took part to an insurance startup here in Italy, and I worked so many years in the customer service. And I see, similar things happening. In the 90s, people or customers were afraid of adopting new wave of interacting with brands, and I mean the call centers. And brands decided to use also call center to interact on the phone instead only offline and meeting persons. But now we're living in a revolutionary era, because for the first time, customers demand brands to use social networks to interact, to use social networks also as additional channels to interact, to get information, to get their problem solved for any kind of query. So this is very interesting, but at the same time, you ask for pros and cons. The pros is that customers are demanding, have bigger expectations than ever. Recent stats show that customers using Twitter to send a query to a brand expect to receive a reply within an hour, with that percentage rising up to 72% if it's a complaint. The pros is that brands have lots to do to improve the quality and the efficiency of their customer service, taking into account a very specific issue, that now online conversations have become public. So any kind of tension or conflict deriving from a phone conversation used to be private. And so the consequences were limited to the contact between that person, that customers, and the brand. But now any online conversation, any tweet, any Facebook message between Paolo Fabrizio as a customer and the brand, xinsurance.com become public. So many other customers and prospects will judge and observe how quick the company will reply to me, how will they behave, and how will be able or willing to solve my problem. So that's a revolution.
And what I see also, based on your words, that companies are also forced in a way to become more human. Brands are forced to become more human in order to interact with their customers. Is that correct?
Yes, they have to become more human. It may seem strange because people tend to use more and more social networks. But as people use social networks as a channel to interact with brands, they want quick responses, but they don't want to receive automatic responses. They want to interact with humans. Yeah. They want people representing the company, the brand, saying, okay, hello, my name is Paolo. I'm taking into account your query, your issue, and I will be solving it. And I will be giving you a feedback on the way up until we solve this issue. So brands need to become more human, and they also need to become more efficient, of course. Mm-hmm. That's a strong challenge. That's a big challenge for any brand using social networks as a channel.
You have partly answered this question, but customer service has always been a very hot topic and sometimes a very painful topic for companies.
Oh yes.
Yes. Have social media changed the way customer service is delivered in a way and also perceived on the other hand?
Well, let me say that we're still in the middle of the road. We didn't get to, so there are many good examples of big companies that, especially in the UK and United States, have already adopted social customer service policy and structure. Maybe they started 2 or 3 years ago, but most of companies still do not have a social customer service dedicated team, which is integrated into a customer service overall strategy. It's very difficult for companies to realize, but they need to realize that they need to rethink their way to deal with customers. And you know, the very mistake that many brands tend to do is to confuse the tool, which is social networks, with the aim, because the aim is to solve customer problems, regardless of the tool. So in fact, customers need to be not only reactive and quick, but they need to be more human than ever, and to engage human and conversational conversations with customers, never forgetting that they're talking online with them, and also at the same time they're having public conversations. So first of all, companies need to rearrange their overall customer service strategy and try to find a way to deliver an excellent customer service regardless the tool they're having. The same level, because customers expect the same level of quality, no matter if they are sending you an email or a tweet. They expect that you as a brand will make their lives easier. So lots has to be done yet in terms of staff training, social media policies, and of course software platforms to let customer service team manager handle and deliver and decide priorities in terms of conversations.
When a company puts in place a customer service and a social customer service specifically, what are the most important statistics that should be used to measure the impact, the effectiveness, and the results achieved?
Yeah, but one of the main stats that are very important is that the first response rate, which measures the lapsing time from the first contact, the first query received, and the time needed to reply. And also more other stats regarding how fast any agent involved in social customer service is able to deal with a conversation in order to avoid duplication of conversation. To make you an example, let's say that agent A, which is myself, is able to solve your problem with 3 tweets or 3 Facebook communications. And let's say that another colleague of mine, which is you, is able to use only 1 conversation. So you are more effective than me. You are using less time than myself, and you're able to deal more conversations. So it's very important also to adopt very good software platforms, but at the same time decide key KPIs before starting social customer service. So let's say we need to reply to any complaint within 35 minutes. Let's say for any, let's say, normal query, each agent shall be able to reply within 5 minutes and need at the most 2 conversations to get that issue solved. And which are the conversations that need to be escalated to the manager or supervisor? So it's a mixture, of course, it's a mixture of KPIs and software platforms. There are some very good software platforms that enable managers, the supervisors, to watch in real time all statistics and match them and compare them to their service level agreements or KPIs. Okay.
You mentioned, the platforms and the need, to have the right strategies and all sorts of things. What are the ongoing trends for customer service?
What do you mean by ongoing trends?
In terms of, the kind of the service provided, or if there are some, favorite channels in terms of the social media that are used. I don't know, maybe some social networks are better
than
suited.
Others.
Yes. Better suited, in terms of features that, can be exploited. And also in terms of software, you mentioned. The need to have
of course.
I
would not mention specific
no,
because I don't want to advantage any kind of brand, but there are some.
Yeah, without naming names, but just in terms maybe of the kind of capabilities.
Yeah, there are. Yes, in terms of
particularly needed.
Yeah. As for social networks, the most preferred, firstly by customers and then, of course, by brands, are definitely Facebook and Twitter. They're very easy to be used also with our smartphones and tablets. And as more and more people all around the world get online using mobile technologies, it's very easy to send a tweet or to send a Facebook message towards companies. And since many companies, even those who are not using yet those channels to do social customer service, have already opened their official Facebook or Twitter page, most of them. The fact is that they're maybe using just to do brand awareness or to promote their products and services. But at the same time, they're already experiencing conversations with their customers. And so the most used are definitely Facebook and Twitter. And these are also the most favored by customers. Twitter, I would say, is the most favored by customers because it's the most dangerous. It's more dangerous. And in fact, as I mentioned previously, customers are very demanding, especially when they're using Twitter, because they expect to receive an answer within an hour. So you imagine that sort of organization you need to set up in order to be able to meet those kind of expectations.
Of course.
As for platforms, there are some very good platforms that enable company to outsource some kind of social customer service activities. I know a UK flight company that decided to do that and still control any kind of conversation from their headquarters successfully with excellent level of customer satisfaction. But at the same time, there are different platforms that enable companies to let you control in-house. So to make an example, I'm the customer service manager and I've got my social customer service agent in the same office. At the same time, I can watch real time their statistics. I can also check if some conversation may become flame because there's a tension that is exploding, or maybe misunderstandings that may be avoidable. These are some of these platforms are very user-friendly. I'm so amazed. I've seen recently two of them, two demos, and I was so amazed that they're so easy to use and to understand, not only in terms of stats, but also in terms of they're very user-friendly. So I mean, any agent could use them, any supervisor could use them. They just need to be trained, not only as for the platform, but more specifically as how to interact online with customers. What are the pitfalls that must be avoided, most of all? What are, you know, the traps that you have to avoid?
Of course, and I believe that compared to normal telephone conversation, the traps that may, occur in an online conversation are many more and even different.
Yeah, you know, online conversations are tricky. Yeah, yeah. The fire, the earthquake is just around the tweet, we say, not just around the corner. Because as people do not have a visual content, as we have now, you have to be so clear when you communicate that you need to avoid any word that can be interpreted as an aggressive tone, as a misunderstanding, or just a formal way. So when I was talking about the correct language to use, I used the word conversational. Conversational means speaking as you were speaking to a friend, but remember that you are a brand. So if I'm an insurance company and I'm replying to your tweets, I have to be friendly. I don't have to use formal words. Otherwise, you would be angry or dissatisfied, because since you're using social networks, you expect from me to be smart, informal, yet professional. So no matter you are a teenager or a 40-year-old woman, you expect from me the same way and the same language. So that's why it's very tricky. And in fact, I would say that any company that would like to start social customer service with small groups, with a small team, should first of all be properly trained, not as for the platforms, but even before, as for the culture, the language, the pitfalls, the consequences.
In a way, Paolo, this social customer service and all this social conversation going on social networks is forcing us to be very clear and maybe to think before we speak. And it's forcing us to, be very aware of the words we use, the tone that we use in our conversation. So this is certainly a benefit, isn't it?
Yeah, that's another pro for customers, because they do not need to concentrate on how they behave. It's very demanding for brands. You said think before speaking. Companies need to think twice before tweeting or replying via Facebook. For the mentions, for the reason that I've just mentioned 1 minute ago. So avoid any misunderstanding is very difficult, because we're humans. We don't have the same way of thinking. So the same word using with you may sound friendly, and other people say, okay, I'm not stupid, I understand it. Why you treating me like a child? So it's very, very tricky. So being clear while writing is not easy. So any kind of stuff using social networks as a channel to interact should become very good, concise writers. So first be clear and concise, then be friendly and avoid any kind of misunderstanding or negative tone.
There's a kind of paradox, that we are so used to the speed that the internet has, brought in everything. So we are used to this speed, but at the same time, now we have to be more careful and, stop and think.
Yeah, because we're writing. We're writing public conversations.
Oh yeah.
That's very tricky. We are writing, and everything that you write remains.
Yeah.
Scripta manent.
Yes, that's true. Paolo, how much, to what extent customer care contributes to brand reputation?
A lot, definitely a lot, because for the reasons that we just mentioned, each online conversation is a test. Lots of people who are not interacting with you are judging you as a company each time they observe, they watch as lurkers, how do you behave with your customers. So I say my suggestion is take care of each online conversation as it was the most important for your business. And if you're able to leverage positive conversations, especially online, you will be able to boost your business, because you will not only you will keep your customers satisfied, so that they will not tend to switch to competitors, but they will also become your ambassadors, and they will speak, and they will also use social networks to amplify how satisfied are with your service, and they will attract more prospects to you. So you will get more business and profitable business without spending $1 or €1, because of course you need to invest on marketing and ads. But at the same time, people need also to be reassured by neutral people, because people is fed up with lots of advertising every day.
Yeah.
So we're bombed every day by ads. So people people are sick about too many advertising. At the same time, they want to check if what you as a brand are promising is real. And so they go online, they check online forums, they check specific blogs, they check their social networks in order to verify if customers are satisfied with your service, or what kind of issue or frequent issue did they face with your specific company. So each online conversation is crucial.
Oh yeah. And to foster this conversation with our customers, we have different tools and different channels. And I know that two favorite communication channels for you are podcasts and videos.
Oh,
and
yes, indeed.
I follow you on your podcasts and videos, and I recommend our audience also to find you there, because you give so much value, so much valuable content that it's worth trying the experience.
Thank you.
Paolo, are podcasts and videos privileged communication channels in today's interconnected world?
Yes, definitely. Not only for myself. First of all, thank you for your kind words regarding my podcast and video. Let me just say a few things about my personal experience as a podcaster and video maker. It's not easy to challenge yourself using your voice for the first time, recording your voice. And it's even more demanding and difficult when you have to show your face for the first time you decide to make a video. And this is very difficult when you speak to brand and you suggest some brands to use podcasts or videos. Because another request that customers do to brands nowadays is to be transparent. And to be transparent not only in terms of language. That means that if I surf on your company website, I would check for the first time information to understand who you are as a company, who is the board, who are the managers. And if I just find a few names without pictures, without any description of their history, this sounds very negative to every online people, to every online customer. So it's even more difficult to convince companies that they need to put their face on it. But it's very useful, coming back to your question, I think that podcasts in particular are very useful, and some companies started to use them as a FAQ session. You know that many websites, company websites, have got their FAQ session, frequently asked questions by customers, in order to let them watch them and avoid their customer service to receive too many frequent questions that have already been answered. But at the same time, it can be very useful to use podcasts, to use the voice and the name of the agents to personalize, to give a human touch to your customer service, to say, okay, this is my voice, I'm Paolo, I'm working for the customer service of X UW Bank. In case, should you switch from your current bank account to ours, it's very easy. I'll tell you how to do. It's just do A, B, C, and that's done. And the second voice is yours. Say, okay, I'm Paolo, I work for the customer service. Let me help you to get a mortgage. What kind of documents do you need to provide? So that's customer service. Customer service is not a tool. Let's try to think, how can we use, not in terms of creativity, but in terms of making our customers' lives easier. That's what they expect from us. And also videos, which is maybe a bit more expensive for brands, and some brands may be reluctant, but can also be used as customer service. You've already, I'm sure that you've already seen many video tutorials to learn how to use a software or to open a bank account. Or video tutorials are customer service, because I don't need to send you a tweet or an email to understand how to use your software or your service. You're giving me information in advance. That's proactive customer service.
Oh, absolutely.
And being proactive is another winning attitude. Definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, everything that you have said so far shows, in terms of trends, if we want to go back to trends, that there is this need for brands to be more human, in order to better understand their customers' needs and requirements, and in order to be able to interact with them in a more, also, not only human but also efficient way. And all these tools that we have, podcasting, video, are the necessary tools that company needs to take advantage of and to tap into, to show their human face.
Yes, you're totally right. And also I would add transparency, because some companies maybe need to change their culture before using any kind of new tool. They need to change the culture when they use email to interact with their customers. They even more need to totally slash their current culture and turn their culture into a transparency one, because people and customers do not accept any kind of lie, or they don't want excuses or lies. They prefer to receive a negative reply saying, I'm so sorry, we're having an issue, we have problems, we're not able to solve it today, we'll come back to you tomorrow at 9 a.m. and you're going to do that. Instead of say, okay, I'll tell you later, you have no problems, we're fixing your problem. And you wait hours and hours and hours.
And days or something.
Yeah. And that's very important for brands.
So a question that I was thinking, then we went on with the conversation. Clearly, countries such as the United States, the UK, and if we go further away, Australia, are certainly quite ahead of us here in Italy as far as creating this social customer service is concerned. Yeah. But what is the situation here in Italy? I know that there are good examples, aren't there?
Yes, yeah. Of course, UK and United States and also Canada, I would say they're very advanced. There are so many companies that are already using social customer service. And the fact that they already be able to successfully integrate traditional channels with social networks. Mm-hmm. As for Italy, I see Italy as 2 years with a 2 years delay. So we have a delay, but it's not so impressive. It's not so negative. And the fact is that some companies, especially big companies, not only international, but also local big companies, are building their small social media customer service teams. They've started, some banks have started a year ago. I know a bank that started a year ago. A big telco set up social customer service team last January. Mm-hmm. So they're always eager to understand, to grasp how to interact. So not only to get and buy the proper platform, but also they're, you remember the astronauts when they touched the ground on the moon for the first time.
I was quite small, but
right, yeah, they want to touch, but at the same time they're a bit afraid. So I think that the many companies in Italy just need to be properly consulted and advised in order to take proper steps gradually and to understand what must be done first. Okay, in order to make big mistakes that may ruin their reputation and also their willingness to also adopt social networks as a channel, which is not going to be a trend. I'm sure about this, what I'm going to say, that social customer service, which means delivering effective customer service with new channel, is not a trend. Mm-hmm. It's going to spread also in Italy and Southern Europe in the next years. And that's maybe one of the most important successful use of social media, because many times social media are attacked by people saying, okay, they're funny, but they're not useful for business. That's the proof that they're useful as customer service channel. And people want to have multiple choice. So if you observe customer service from the 80s till today, we've seen an addition of channel. We've got the telephone, then we had fax, then we had call centers, then we had emails, then we have also social networks. So I don't see any company that say, okay, now we got social networks, let's take away the phone, or let's take away the fax, or let's stop using emails. So these are customers want to have multiple choice. And that's the way towards multi-channel customer service. So I'm so confident that also in Italy and all over the world, this is going to be a very, very big business in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and I think that, the multi-channel aspect is going to affect communication at all levels. I mean, it's not just the customer service that will use a multi-channel approach, but, any and every kind of communication.
Sales, of course. Sales as well. I imagine, and that's not, future, some people that call me using Google Hangout or Skype, trying to sell me maybe a mortgage or trying to sell me their service instead of visiting me. Which does not mean that local agent will disappear, because people need contact, human contact. They need to meet each other. But at the same time, for quick and effective communication, we as customers prefer to write few lines. We even sometimes write few lines instead of calling our friends to organize dinner.
We text.
Isn't it funny that we create WhatsApp groups to decide when we are going to have our pizza next month?
Yes.
Isn't it funny?
Yeah.
So,
that's part of the multi-channel communication approach. I mean, even in our private lives, no, we do the same.
Yeah, and very quick, very fast. And when you write, you expect your friend to reply quick. I'm sure you do as well.
Oh yeah, and if they don't reply to my texts, I get upset.
Yeah, of course, because you can see if they open you the message. That's tricky. Oh, I saw Paolo that he watched my message. Why didn't he reply yet?
Yeah. And we'll do that with customer service too. You will see very soon.
Yeah.
Another channel is WhatsApp or something like that.
Sure.
Paolo, if you had to, advise or to give a very simple, for the purposes of this conversation, a very simple checklist to a company, let's say a small, medium-sized company who really want to start and think about, building a social customer service. If you had to give them just a checklist with, steps to follow or things to consider.
Yeah. Are you meaning especially small, medium brands or in general?
Well, I think we can say in general,
all right.
But something that, can apply also to small, medium brands. Big brands, have more money, can invest more. Maybe, I don't mean to say it's easier for them, but probably they have more means.
Yeah, and more information, yes. They are
yes.
better informed regarding this kind of matter. Well, first of all, I would ask them a question. Why do you want to add social networks as a customer service tool? And after listening to their answer, I may be suggesting them not to use social customer service or to use it. Because I'm not saying, giving good advices to brands does not mean selling everything. Even the brands will not be satisfied about your consultancies. So I would say, why are you willing or do you want to start? And if they want to start because they ask their customers, or they've received so many feedbacks by the customers, and most of their target audience ask them also to add a channel, a social channel, I would say, okay, let's talk about it. And let's define a plan to start maybe with a channel, let's say Facebook, for instance, and let's start to define the targets that you want to achieve by using this channel, and how many staff do you want to use. Okay, because otherwise, if you're ready to start, but you decide that you're giving this job to a part-time guy, you'll soon realize that you'll be invaded by a tsunami of tweets or Facebook, and customer satisfaction levels will go low, and you have no benefits. Instead, you will have maybe customers going away and leaving you. So that's very important as step 2. So if you're ready, if your customers want you to use social customer service, okay, that's step 1. Let's go to step 2. Let's define your targets and decide also how many people. I'll let you help to train and decide how many people you need to start, maybe 1 agent or 2 agents. And let's monitor constantly every week, not only every day, if customer satisfaction, if the conversations are properly handled. And also let's make, after 1 month or 2, a survey consulting those customers that have already used this new service, how can they help us? Are they satisfied? What are the critical points? What they would like to improve? What they really appreciate? So it's an ongoing process. While if you, as a brand, you just want to start because you heard that many companies and competitors are willing to do that, be ready to be aware. So if you're not aware of what you're going to face, maybe you're not ready to use those kind of tools, because you need to be fully aware and ready of what you're going to face. So if you want to swim but you never swim, you may die. But it's not handling a phone conversation. And you know, the quickness, speed on how a negative conversation spread and is amplified via social networks is incredible. So that's very important. That's the important thing that must be understood by managers if they're not aware yet.
Yeah. Paolo, I have received a question from a Joseph, who asks you, you said that the important thing is the conversation that is going on. And
the quality, yes.
Yeah, the quality of the conversation, and so how you interact with your customers. So if we are starting as a company and we are starting to build our social customer service team, and we have to make an investment, where would you initially invest the money? In training, the resources, in buying the software, or what else?
Firstly, to properly train staff, first of all. And at the same time, making sure that any department of the company involved is aware that will need to interact with this team each time that customer service team will receive a query which is technical and cannot be answered by a customer service team. So also training for staff and procedures that let departments be willing and able and involved to interact with customer service team to give proper technical answers that customer service will use and reply with their clients. And at the same time also investing with platforms, but platforms have got different levels and different costs. So maybe companies may be afraid of cost regarding the platforms. But as for the cost themselves, I think that the biggest investment must be done within the company for training staff.
Thank you. I don't know if there is any other question from our audience. Let me make a quick tour of all the social media channels that people may be following our conversation. Because if there is no question, no, I can't see any questions. I would like to say that clearly this interview has been recorded. As you know, we are going live, not only here on Google+, but also on YouTube. So for all the people who haven't been able to watch this interview live, feel free to either post your questions to Paolo below the recording on Google+ or on YouTube, or on my page on my website where we are going live too. Or you can send questions to me at info@projectprosperity.com, and I will forward these questions to Paolo, who will then reply to your questions directly. So if you haven't been able to be with us today, you still have time to ask Paolo all the questions you want.
Sure.
Paolo, if you had to leave us with a message today, what will be your message to us?
Well, I would like to leave a message to companies.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to be open and to be transparent, because that's a competitive advantage towards many competitors. That's a strategical view instead of technological regarding the tools we talked about during this wonderful conversation that we had. But I would say, don't be afraid to be transparent in each conversation that you have, regardless it's offline, meeting your customers, or online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And don't hide your mistakes. Be real.
They make you more human.
More real. I can rely to a brand who admits that sometimes fail to meet my expectations, rather than be trustful to a brand who never say, I'm sorry, we made a mistake.
Oh yeah, because they can sound arrogant.
Yeah.
They don't admit that they also make mistakes.
Yeah, customers do not want lies.
Paolo, before we close this conversation, and I would go on for hours, but you know, it's almost dinner time, and so I assume that you know,
and also for our audience.
Yeah. I would like to ask you to tell our audience where they can find you, where they can listen to your podcasts and watch your videos. And before you say that, be reassured that all the links that Paolo mentioned will be posted below this video on Google Plus and on YouTube, and also on my website. So you will be able to reach Paolo anyway, even if you don't have pen and paper now.
All right. All right. Of course, I use a lot social networks.
Yes.
To interact with my audience and also to learn, because we always have to learn. So let's start when talking about the English audience. So I mentioned previously my LinkedIn account, which you can find all my English articles. And also as contributor on the American blog Kurati.com. My next post will be online next Wednesday, always on social customer service. And as for English podcast, you can find them on Spreaker.com. I can spell it, Spreaker.com. And all my videos on YouTube. So if you just type Paolo Fabrizio on YouTube, you'll find my English videos. At the same time, you got at the same addresses for podcast, Spreaker.com, and on YouTube, you get also my Italian podcasts and videos. On socialmediascrum.com, you find my Italian blog, and on my Twitter account, Google Plus account, LinkedIn, and Facebook, you find either Italian and English articles, which are not only mine. So I'm always happy to share good content that may be useful to other people.
Great. So you have, all Paolo's contacts, and again, I will be posting them below this video here and on YouTube and on my website. So Paolo, thank you very much for this very nice and very useful conversation. As usual, you have given us lots and lots of valuable content, and I hope, that we will soon be having another interesting conversation on social media, social customer service and branding, and the other topics that we both love and work on.
Right. So, thank you so much, Paola, for this fabulous conversation. I'm so happy to having this opportunity, and also goodbye to all our audience. See you soon.
So, thank you for having been with us. Have a good evening and a good dinner or a good lunch if you're the other side of the world. And thank you again, Paolo, and we will speak soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.